What is going on? It's the UFC Critic back here. It's been a long time. Just been, training, doing some things, getting work done, and I've had a broken webcam for a couple months, and we got a new laptop here, so back in action for now. Back here to do UFC 84 predictions. Pretty excited about this card. There's a lot of great fights on the card. Some matchups of old and new with Machida and Tito. Sean Shirk versus BJ Penn is going to be a great fight. So we'll get right into it. Let me just check out the card here so I can do it for you. Alright, Sokaju versus Nakamura, not on the main card. I'm a bit surprised. I think this is a bit of the UFC with their pride bias. This is a great fight, and arguably a type of fight that people would pay some money to see. They could put this fight as a UFC Fight Night main event, but they get the undercard here. What are you gonna do? One of these guys will probably be moving up to the main card. As far as this fight goes, I don't like what the UFC's doing here. As far as they're saying they're trying to build new stars. Sokaju's clearly a guy who he's got a lot of skills. He's got a big fan base, a big following after some spectacular knockouts in Pride. Came in here not too long ago, and who did he fight? Did he fight Machida? I think he fought Machida and just got dominated, just got taken down at will, and he just showed his lack of ground game, getting thrown right back into the fire here against Nakamura. I hope that he's improved somewhat, but how much can you improve in whatever it was, 6 months or a year? Probably less than a year since he fought. I don't know if it was last summer or when it was, but how much can you really improve your ground game, especially against a guy like Nakamura with great takedowns, great ground game? I just think that this is too much for Sokaju, and basically his chances are, obviously we all know, staying on the feet and getting a knockout. I think Nakamura is a little too seasoned. He's going to be able to keep Sokaju off balance a little bit. Sokaju's not going to be able to be as aggressive because he's going to be worried about the takedown, much like his last fight. And even though he looked good in the stand-up until he got taken down last fight. But yeah, I think this is Nakamura's fight to win. I think that if Sokaju does win this fight, it's going to be based on clearly the stand-up game, and probably early in the first or second round, because I think that when it comes to the third round, Sokaju will probably be a little bit discouraged. He'll probably have been on his back for a lot of the fights. So I think that if this fight's going to end in his favor, it's going to happen in the first or second round early before he gets taken down. I only have a couple minutes for this video because YouTube has odd practices, so I'm just going to go right into the main card. I just thought that was an interesting fight to talk about. I'll go into the three main fights. Tito Ortiz versus Lyoto Machida. Clearly the UFC is doing everything they can do to bury Tito. He's fourth fight on the card, and if not bury Tito, look at what they're doing to Machida. Fourth fight down on the card. Machida's undefeated. I think this is going to be a great fight. I, unlike many people, think Tito is going to win this fight. I know how talented Machida is, probably more talented than Tito is all around, no doubt. I just think that Tito is going to be able to control the pace of the fight with his takedowns if he's healthy. If he's not, it's a different story, and Machida is going to wipe the floor with him. But I'm going on Tito's word that he's healthy for this fight. He wants to stick it to Dana White. He really wants to win this fight. I know we've heard that before, and it hasn't come through, hasn't come to pass, but it's been a year since Tito's last fight, just about 10 months or something. And I think Tito's going to go out with a bang. The one thing I want to say about this fight is that Tito better be careful with the judge's decision, because clearly he is not getting the judge's decision in this fight. I'm not saying that the UFC is fixed in any way, by and large, but in this fight, you gotta believe that if it comes down to a decision and it's anywhere close, the guy who's staying in the UFC and the up-and-comer is going to end up getting the decision. It just seems to go that way, and it probably will go that way. So Tito needs a dominating performance. I don't know that he'll get a dominating performance, but I think he'll do enough to win if the judges score the bout right. And I think Tito will probably win 2-1 with 2 rounds of basically wrestling, keeping Machida on his back. I don't know how much. I don't think he'll get too much ground and pound in. Machida's a little too well versed, but I think Tito will do enough to win. Vanderlei Silva versus Keith Jardine. Really excited for this fight. Vanderlei looked great against Chuck. He didn't look like himself from back in the day when he had confidence, but hey, maybe he builds on that last performance. He fought one of the best, and he damn near won the fight. Keith Jardine's one of these hit or miss guys. He's got great leg kicks, awkward stand up, but it's effective nonetheless. He outstruck Chuck, which is amazing. But I think that in this fight, I think Keith will be able to keep Vanderlei off balance to a certain degree. I think with the leg kicks, that's going to be a problem for Vanderlei. Keith's just such a big guy. So I think, yeah, Keith Jardine's going to have the advantage of a little bit of height, probably a little bit of reach. But I think Vanderlei is going to end up getting through Keith's guard standing up, and what I mean by that is Keith likes to fight at a distance, and I think Vanderlei is going to get inside on him, and Vanderlei just throws punches from hell, and I just think that he's going to catch Jardine. We saw it with a much less experienced fighter in Houston Alexander, and Jardine just couldn't handle it. So I think that it's pretty safe to say that Vanderlei Silva is going to take this fight. Well, maybe not safe to say, but I have to make a pick, and I'm going to go with that pick. I hope he wins because I want to see Vanderlei in some big fights. He's very exciting, despite what I used to think of him. So let's move on to the main event. We only have a couple minutes here. BJ Penn versus Sean Sherk. Very exciting fight. Unlike a lot of people who think that this is just going to be a romp for BJ Penn, I totally disagree. I think Sean Sherk is much better than he gets credit for. I think there's very few guys in the lightweight division that can beat Sean Sherk. And I think Sean Sherk's going to have BJ in trouble. I think that he's going to be able to get BJ on his back. Sean Sherk is just a beast. He's an absolute beast. He's, what's BJ going to do if Sean wants to out-wrestle him? BJ's got very good wrestling as well. But at the end of the day, BJ's just too well versed. You don't win fights by just laying on top of guys. We're seeing that more and more. The judges are not scoring in favor of those type of guys. And I just think that BJ's too well-rounded. I think that Sean Sherk is going to take some rounds in this fight. I think this fight is probably going to go the distance. And I think what we're just going to see is a very, very, very good fighter losing to a fighter who just has that much more skill. And I think that at the end of the day, BJ's going to take this fight probably 3 rounds to 2, just showing a better skill set. I don't think he's going to dominate this fight in any fashion, but I think that he's going to do enough on the ground when he's on his back. He's going to outstrike Sean, no doubt. The striking is, they're not even on the same level, and his jiu-jitsu is very good as well. He's very flexible. He's going to be able to get out when Sean takes him down. He's going to be able to get up. So I don't see Sean winning this fight, but I think that he can. I think there's a chance. I don't see it happening, but we'll see what happens. I'm pretty excited about that fight. I think it's going to be a great fight, and I think people need to show Sean Sherk some respect, because right now, whether you like it or not, Sean Sherk is the lightweight champion until BJ beats him, which we all think he probably will. But so that's my picks, and from now on, I hope to be back in a timely fashion, making the rest of my picks. So thanks for watching. It's good to be back, and I'll see you for 85 predictions. Take it easy.